Call meeting
Yeah, I
order.
guess.
Everybody.
Oh, please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilwoman Schott, please read the prayer.
Heavenly Father, we come to you with humble hearts, and we ask that you give us wisdom as we make decisions that will affect our community. And we ask you to bless our community and all of our residents. We also ask you to bless and protect our employees, police officers, and first responders. And Father, we thank you for the members of the military, both past and present, and ask that you keep them safe. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Sorry about that, I didn't mean to be rude to you. Okay, Mr. Thomas is ill.
I make a motion that we excuse Mr. Thomas.
Second. I feel sorry for him.
Bennett,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Schott.
Yes.
Some firefighter.
Minutes.
Motion for the minutes?
Second.
Bennett,
Yes.
Chief.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Schott.
Yes.
Bills.
Motion for the bill?
Second.
Bennett,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Schott.
Yes.
And we have a hourly workers' comp report.
One.
Okay, and then the fireman's time.
Motion for the fireman's time?
Second.
Bennett,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Schott.
Yes.
All right, Deborah, you are up.
No. Will you go by me?
Yes, ma'am.
Something.
Okay, we'll go to fire department. Fire had, mutual, see, we had reported calls of 101 calls a day. Last year, at this time, there was 89, so ahead of schedule. Mutual aid was given to Brewster twice, given to Wilmot twice. We received from Brewster 5 and received from Wilmot 1. Congratulations to Corey Anderson for passing his firefighter class. And they're working on service quotes for power cots and load systems. We'll bring the recommendations to the next meeting. New information regarding the FEMA grants, so they're gonna be holding off on the purchasing of the SCBA until later in the year. And on the cat hose testing, last Wednesday, all hoses were tested and passed inspection. And here's a new one, funding requested for this meeting, none. So there we go.
I make a motion we approve the funding.
There you go. All right. Good move.
I'll second.
There you go. So, okay,
Sorry, I didn't have my information.
well, it's too late now.
Okay,
No,
okay.
you go right ahead, Deborah.
I set up a tentative date of May 19th to have the company come in for the records destruction. I've given the date to the village administrator to see if we could get some of the nice young men to help carry the boxes from the basement. We got a notice from the Department of Commerce regarding the legislation of liquor permits and renewals, which we get it every year, but we usually don't have anything that we want to stop and block a renewal. And I received a call from USI Insurance They were wondering if we are interested in taking bids this year for 2021, 2022 liability insurance. That was the company we had prior to Whittaker Myers. And I wanted to bring that to your attention. They're interested in trying to bid on our insurance to get our account back.
Is Whittaker Myers, didn't we have a 2-year contract with them? I can't remember.
I have to go back and.
They hadn't been
I
in
think
here.
we did, but
I know
it might be up.
we had it for Lexipol, we had to keep them for so long, but I don't know if that time is up yet or not.
How many of the liquor permit things did we have, that they asked us whether to do anything with it?
Well, we only have now one left.
That's up at the store.
That's up at the convenient mart. Everything else is closed down. So if you wanted to argue that, you'd have to take that.
No, I don't want to.
Okay.
I just know the tavern, Mrs. Lambert still has the permit for their liquor.
I have no idea, that's none of my business.
Well, I know.
State doesn't tell me anything like that.
Okay.
The last thing I have is the third reading of a resolution. It's the resolution regarding the transportation with the city of Maslin.
Is the chief of police, on with that? No problem?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to pass that.
Second. That way you don't have to read it.
Is that the prison?
Yeah.
Oh,
transport.
This is just a 1-year contract.
I believe
It
Don't
is.
say
so.
that.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Based on the, increase on that, like triple, whatever the increase, I would like to find out if there's any way for a different way to transport it, not this year, that's what I was asking for one.
Yeah, it's from January 21st to December 31st of 2021 for $1,574.38. And the only other way that I know, you'd have to have a full-time officer doing the work, bringing them back and forth, going to Stark County, bringing them back to court, taking them back to Stark County. That'd be your option. And I don't know how often or what that cost would be, I don't know. And I'm sorry, did someone make a motion? Bill, you
I'll make a
second?
motion.
I,
Oh, you did it. Okay.
I seconded it.
Bennett,
Yes?
Richards? Yes. McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
yes.
and Schott?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a few things? Did we get any feedback on the Memorial Day Parade or the garage sale?
On the garage sale, we decided the last meeting on the 20th and 21st of.
We haven't heard
August.
nobody complaining or
Oh,
anything?
feedback, no, I haven't heard. I did want to bring up about the parade. There will be no band.
I wondered about
Plus also they said that they were talking about doing, I don't understand why, these kids are young, but they said it's so much pressure on these children for the students to go from one place to another. And so they're gonna do it like they would just do 2 communities 1 year and then 2 the next year. I don't know, I can give the superintendent our thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean,
I
they've
don't-
done it for hundreds of
Forever,
years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Real soft
Too much pressure on the little kid or something.
for the people. I don't
Yeah,
know.
the little high school kids.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
they end
I'll
up
let
at
them
4
know.
places.
They can't, they will do this for us this year if council would want. They can have a couple people come down and play taps, which I think would be a good thing to do. So I'll send him an email on that. Just wanted to,
Taps and no response.
right. So,
Echo, whatever you wanna call it.
and then we have the National Day of Prayer will be
The 6th.
this Wednesday or Thursday at 6, that's right, I'll be. And also May is Motorcycle Awareness Month, so watch those guys. And that is all I have. Do we have anybody, visitor Carol? did you want to speak? You go ahead. You sign in. Did you sign in?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanna know about the bathrooms up there at the park. Is that just for the CIC for things for the pavilion? Or is it for everybody, you know what I mean, like things going on in the park? How's that, for the bathrooms, how's that, I don't understand all that.
The bathrooms would be used for any CIC event, or if somebody rents the pavilion, they have access to the bathrooms. But they're not gonna leave those bathrooms open all the time to be destroyed by those kids up there.
Right.
That's
did-
why there's a portage on.
I did get a hold of the Baseball Association. They did bring a porta potty up, and we put it in a position where we keep an eye on
I seen that, yeah.
it.
But they originally had bathrooms open and there
Right.
was vandalism, so they had to lock them.
I agree, yeah, I understand.
But I understand that when you need the bathroom, you need the bathroom.
I just was thinking, you know, like if the kids do destroy it, and I know the cops are around and things like that, you know, and these little kids, you know, they're up there practicing, you know, T-ball and things like that, and then saying, you know, it is vandalized or something's going on, they ain't gonna wanna go in that bathroom, and that's not fair to them, you know, or they have to clean it up, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, we used to have it used to be behind the Bose's house, there behind the shed, was where the porta potty was. And I suppose either the kids were nicer back then,
Yep.
or they just didn't know where it was. And
Right.
so they didn't destroy it. But now where we have it, what did I say? But anyway, yeah, we're gonna take care of that hopefully,
Okay.
so. Yeah, but it won't be that hard for them to get to it, just so, I'm sure that Mr. Weeks has let all the coaches know that where it's at now, so the moms and dads can take their kids up there, so they'll have a place to go.
Yeah, there was a few that asked me, and
Okay.
I told them where they were, so.
Oh. All right, I guess we'll go to police.
How you guys doing? Couple things. I've got my sergeant working on the grass mowing with the village administrator.
Yeah.
We're working on getting those in the mayor, I believe, with, make sure those are cut down. I'm trying to come up with along with the village administrator, meeting, had a meeting earlier this afternoon regarding what to do with some of these people that are scrap haulers in town, that are bringing junk in and then taking the same stuff out. We had the issue down before where I had a guy that would bring stuff in, by the time I give him notice 2 weeks later, it was gone, but new junk was in. So we're gonna try to do some research to see what we can do to eliminate someone from doing that, or what the process is, and there's a lot of research that goes into it, so we're gonna try to work on that. Other than that, everything on the police side, we're doing good, everything's running, we've ramped our hours up. We're gonna be working more hours, I've got more officers covering, it's getting into the summer months. The properties that were abandoned that we took over, I spoke to the village administrator, the one property is completely, should not be walked in at all, he boarded everything up for me, I really appreciate that. Even when we go to demo it, I'm not sure how the contracts or whatever needs to read, but nobody should ever enter that house. It is 100% not safe.
You're talking to the one on Third Avenue
Yep.
southeast?
Yes.
Okay.
The other house is secure. The house and the garage are both secure. So there's no getting into those two properties there anymore. In walking those properties, the one we found a Cadillac Eldorado in mint condition.
Down here.
Yep. And I also found a box full of Beanie Babies that was ranging online, the little bit of research I did, anywhere from $1 to $25,000.
Jeez.
I doubt they're gonna be worth anything near the $25,000. I'm sure they're worth more like 100. So.
I think that Cadillac is mine, cause this one night I was at Jim's and I forgot
You
where I
left it down
parked.
Good try.
So the stuffed animals, from everything that I've seen and what they've sold in the past, they're well under $1,000.
Did you check the license plate on the Cadillac, is there one on it?
There's no license plate, we ran the VIN to make sure it was not stolen, because that nice of a vehicle in an
The
abandoned
guy
house
from
makes
Dover,
me-
Philly?
I can't remember.
It's ours now.
What year is it?
Everything on that property is ours.
90, somewhere between, isn't the early 90s.
Are you
Yes.
kidding me?
No, when we bought the property, those are, everything there, if you go down there and find 2 bars of gold, it belongs to the village.
The only thing I would say is, I agree, except
Except-
motor vehicles in the state of Ohio, the only way to evidence ownership is through the title. So
Oh.
there's a statutory procedure to transfer title because they're abandoned,
Okay.
but technically, the only way to show who owns or who has interest in a motor vehicle is through the title.
Oh, then I was wrong.
So, I mean,
I'm glad I got you here.
sorry.
No, that's okay, I'm glad I got you
I
here.
think
No.
we took possession of them, and there's a statutory process to take title to them as abandoned, but for the time being,
Right.
that doesn't mean we should release it to somebody who shows up, because they may owe for other things, but, we'll have to go through the statutory process.
So if anybody wanted to buy the motor or the car after you
Have
get
to
the
get the
property, you'd almost have to bid on it then.
You'll have
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What year did you say it was?
Then you'd have to
Somewhere
get
in
them
the
an
90s.
abandoned title.
Black with leather
That-
interior,
Unless I
great
can find
condition.
my original.
I knew there was something in there, but I didn't know what it was.
And if you find that title and you fix up the floors and the other structural issues, I'm sure the village would work with anybody too.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the,
Now, we have a boat too, the one, not down there, but in the other one. We need to get title on that too.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
anything.
We'll have to work on that too, then, so.
so
But yeah, we
what,
got all kinds of.
Is the trailer secured up on 6?
I didn't look.
I haven't been up there.
I haven't
been able to get over there yet either.
I'll find out, but the main one was with Dunn's property, I wanted that boarded up because it is not safe at all for anybody to walk in there, even the demolition people need to stay on the outside of that house if we have any responsibility in that at all.
Whose name is that house in, by the way?
Ours,
Village of Beach City.
Before that, do you remember?
That was
a bank.
Yeah.
Because Barb Walter had a deed on, thing on it.
What's
You
that?
lost that probably too.
the last conversation I had with her is that she would release that if it came to the village.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the one lady didn't want anything to do with it, she said no.
And it was a
Because I
bank.
talked to Iva, I think it was
Previous
her
owner was
daughter,
kind of mortgage company.
Iva, and she said
That
yes.
was the mother of
They
Doug.
didn't want nothing to do with it because they said it was a headache, and they were living up in Green or somewhere. Or up north somewhere, right?
They probably didn't want to pay the funeral cost either.
Was it Stark County Land Utilization? Land U. that's
So
the
I guess my
land-
question to you guys is, the stuffed animals that I found,
Yes.
I don't think they're gonna be worth more than $1,000. Like I said, it was a quick Google search and everything that I saw where they sold previously was well under that. I would like to, if you guys are okay with it, try to sell them and put the money in the police department if you guys would have a problem with that or whatever you wanna do with it.
It would be up to the attorney what he says we can do legally. I think they're gonna, it would be something like you put them on a, what's this thing you put on?
Online, I can bid them online. I would
Okay.
like to, like I said, I'd like to see what they're worth, see what we can do.
We'd have to vote on that, to let you do that.
Correct, I believe
The
they
only
have the
problem I have
legislation.
though is if you do it for the police department, how do you tell the other departments that they don't get any of the money?
Cause I found them.
No,
I think that
seriously.
should go
Yeah,
in
no, I
the
agree.
So you
general
wouldn't go
fund.
into the general fund?
Whatever you guys
That's what
wanna
you
do,
get
is like I
most
said, I found them, you guys do what you want with them, that
What
was
do you
my
mean
suggestion.
you found them where?
Where do you think it would go to, the
Abandoned
general
house.
fund?
Where at?
In one of the abandoned houses.
I mean, it's up to, I
Oh,
think it's up
well,
to
yeah.
council where the money.
Then council would have to say
Yeah,
where it goes.
No, no,
Go ahead.
if the money comes out of the general fund to buy it, whatever is
Yeah,
brought in from that property goes back into the general fund.
yeah, that's.
Like I said,
yeah,
I've got them
Has
locked
to
up,
follow.
I don't think they're worth more than $1,000, it's not worth anything, whatever you guys wanna do with it, I found them, I'm letting you know I
We
found them.
found because you got there first. I mean, we would have found them eventually.
How do
But
you
now,
want,
like you're a pioneer and you.
how do you want us to vote to make sure that he can do the sleeping?
you should specify, the statute requires you a bidding and formal process for internet auctions if the value is in excess of $1,000. Well, I was sitting back there with Chief
Oh.
Guy, we searched completed auctions on eBay that had at least one bid. So where are these things selling, where there's actually maybe some real person bidding and buying? And those were all sub $100, most of them sub $50, like 20-some dollars.
They're not worth much. It was just
But
kind of, it
there's-
was a cool find.
But there's auctions out there that they list the same thing for $40,000. So,
Well, yeah.
but I think it's reasonable if the completed auctions with bidders are well under $1,000, I would specifically state in the motion to sell property with a value of less than $1,000.
You guys did check then the completed listings, the ones that were sold, right? So there's still people buying these things?
Yeah,
And
I've got
there's
this
still-
back.
Yeah, still people trying to
Because the
sell.
market was
Yeah,
so flooded.
So here's completed auctions
Uh-huh.
of some of the actual ones.
These are the ones that sold?
These, they,
Okay, $2.25.
yeah, they concluded and they had actual bids.
Right, that's the ones that I was wondering about,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So that's how I think we can make a reasonable,
Assumption.
good faith assumption that these are not worth $1,000.
Did you count them by any chance, or, I
So,
mean, like how many there
The
was?
four, there's a set of four, is all I
That's it?
checked on.
Okay,
And those were what I showed him, and when I found them, I showed him, let him know what they were. There was a full tote of the McDonald's Beanie Babies, still in the packages. I don't think they're gonna be worth more than $1,000 either.
oh, the McDonald's,
And there was other ones too, I haven't looked at them, I just found them.
okay. So we're talking, we don't even know how many we have.
I have no clue.
You need an inventory, I mean, you
Yeah.
can't put this half cost, you have to do it right.
Yeah, I'm letting you guys know, like, we can move forward with it later, I'm just letting you guys know what we have.
All right. That's
Um,
pretty good. McDonald's,
There was the McDonald's one, there's regular ones, I don't know what's on there, I looked at the four
yeah. Who
in the
did
box.
that, Pie, was it TY something or other?
Yeah, it's just TY.
TY, they did that. I knew that thing was gonna crash because they just kept putting more and more out, people were
No, and
going
they
nuts.
still are putting new ones
That's
out.
insane.
So I
That's
worked at
great.
McDonald's when they did the mini ones.
Oh, so then McDonald's jumped in on it after.
Yeah, there's,
Okay.
People would come in and just buy those,
No.
We used to-
specifically.
We used to buy
Alright.
Star Wars stuff from Burger King
I
and
think
Cakes.
that's all I have right now, like I said, I'm just letting you guys know, I'd rather you guys know everything, and
Okay.
whatever you
That sounds
guys
good.
do with them is up to you.
You got Franny all excited about that caddy.
I'm telling you. So,
I don't need another car.
Thank you, Chief.
I got enough.
thank you.
Oh, you can always flip it, Franny.
I have something for you, Chief.
Oh, I have something.
Oh,
for
I'm
you.
sorry.
Somebody, said that when they are not patrolling, but when they're sitting at the park doing radar, I'm assuming,
Okay.
that where they're parking, if you're at the stop sign, you can't see past them to see if a car's coming.
Mhm.
And so they might just wanna move back a little bit. I mean, it's not a problem them being there, just make sure there's, people can see around them. Cause I was mentioned that a couple of times some people almost got in accidents cause they couldn't see a car coming,
I'll
so.
look at it, I'll see, I
Yeah.
have an idea where they sit it, I'll look and see how.
Yeah, just somebody asked
I'll
me
make sure
about it,
they're
I
off the
told
road a
them I
little
would
bit.
ask.
I'll look into that. Also, with the prisoner transport, we are looking at several different options for, there's ideas being thrown around the county regarding what to do with these prisoner
Mhm.
transports, because it was a lot higher than what the contract is now, that's been negotiated.
Mhm.
But it seems to be a problem across the board in Stark County,
Right.
Western Stark County, what to do with prisoner transport, so it is being looked into. I'm hoping that we had to get something passed, so I'm hoping.
Well, that's why
that-
I was asking if it was just a year contract so that you
Yeah.
could look in.
It's just a
Yeah,
year,
so-
and they're still working, I've been on a couple
Yeah.
conference calls with it, and they were definitely being looked at and questioned, so.
That's good to hear, thank
So
you.
hopefully, other than that, that's all I have, guys, thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief. All right, Jim?
Okay. I'll start with wastewater and water. I did get the report back, and we've looked it over, and I looked at the contract from the previous time when we had it painted, and I was informed Rod that there was a 1-year warranty on that paint job, so there's really nothing we can do. But I've given each one of you a quote on some touch-ups, so like some direction on that, what we're gonna do. It is touching up the inside, all of the areas that are corroded, and then the legs, different areas as well, just touching up the paint. And this will kind of buy us another 5 to 10 years on that before we have to look at it again. But we will be having it inspected every 2 to 3 years, which is mandated by the EPA, so moving forward. We'll continue having inspections, but
Jim, what part was the touch-up, the price? I didn't see it.
It's all the way at the
Here.
bottom. Where would that come from? That would come from general and from all the groups.
Touch up for the water tower?
Water.
All water.
It would come from what? I know you just gave us a thing.
So that touch-up would be for 1 year there too?
the warranty would be, yeah, but it's just for the touch-up, you know, it's gonna be hard to do anything to justify warranting a touch-up job, but yes. And it's not a dire emergency. If you're not comfortable making that decision tonight, you can review it and make sure we're comfortable with the funding to make sure we can handle that this year.
Well, it looks like that we have the amount that the money that we can do that. I make a motion that we go ahead and get the water tower taken care of.
We do have the money then, Debbie.
Now, if you look at your report,
Yes.
water,
Okay,
was that a second?
yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Shuck.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
What's up, how about 6,500?
Look at that.
Yeah.
65.
I got it all, I just haven't. Thank you.
Um,
And then it's gonna be inspected every year, did you say?
every 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3. And not necessarily will need repainted at that time, it's
No.
just they're looking to see what's going on.
Yes, it's mandated by the EPA that we have it inspected every 2 to 3 years to check the condition.
And how would that process go?
The inspection,
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Well,
ju-
have you had it inspected yet?
we just had it inspected a month ago.
But when you do this work, how is that gonna affect our water supply?
Won't. We can have a live feed from Canton, so the pressure might fluctuate a little, but we're gonna have to drain the tower, have it touched up and painted, have it disinfected again, and then we get a clean bacteria sample, and then we will be able to refill the tower, and everything returns to normal.
Now, will they put a coating on the inside of that tower?
They're touching up the coating on the inside, yes.
So we're gonna do the whole inside of the tank instead of just the
No.
top where the thing's at?
No, it's a touch-up job inside.
Okay.
All the areas that they found that were corroded will be touched up.
So then how long would that last till we have to absolutely do the inside of that?
It should, we'll know in 2 to 3 years when we have it inspected again, but my opinion would be that it's gonna buy us another 5 to 10 years before we have to make a serious, investigation on having it redone again.
Yeah,
So,
if we had to do that today, how much would that cost?
yeah, it would
You
be.
got an idea?
it would be
Last time we
significant.
did it, it cost over $100,000.
Yeah, so you're probably looking at close to that again, probably not quite 100 because there was the last time there was several safety upgrades that were done, there was some welding done. Where we're beyond that now, our safety specs are up to code per se. So it would just be a recoat, but, it all depends on the extent of the recoat. Are they gonna have to sandblast? There's a lot of things that come involved in that, but yeah, you're probably looking at close to the same thing again to have it totally redone. Next thing, the valves for the paving project on Main Street. We have all the valves replaced that we were planning on replacing. The only things we have left to do before they can pave is we have 2 services on the west side of Main Street to renew. And then we have to patch our holes that we've dug up. We're gonna patch those with asphalt before they come in and pave. And then we're also waiting on the gas company to come fix their holes, which tentatively they're coming next week. So from what I can tell right now, the last week in May, maybe the 3rd week in May, I'll give approval for the paving company to come and start their project. So we should be seeing that real soon.
Okay, and don't forget, we will be having a parade on May 31st.
Yeah.
So,
So we'll take that into account when we get down to the wire there, whether we want all that equipment here or should we wait, so. Yep, thank you.
and this is just a general thing, but is there some reason that we cannot put parking, you know, paint where the parking is? Cause people park, you know, this far apart, and then you can't get another,
Oh,
you
Something
know,
like white lines.
parking, yeah,
the
what do you call
horizontal.
them, spaces?
We can definitely do that, when the new paving's down.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be some cost in that, but having a company come in and paint parking spaces on the sides of the roads where there is legal parking.
Or you wanna go farther than what it is downtown, in other words?
Oh, no, I'm just interested in the downtown area, cause
Okay.
so many times people just park stupid.
I thought maybe you was
Yeah.
talking about up the street, we never did that.
Oh, no, I'm just talking
Just
about
down here,
downtown.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I'd have to look at it, but if it's wide enough here to allow parking on both sides, I'm not sure, because it's Main Street. We would have to look at that,
It isn't.
but I know from here all the way down, yes. we
Right,
could do
that's why
parking
I just am
spaces.
talking about that.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely, we can look into having that done, Jordan.
What we did there,
Hopefully we'll
the
have some
line is,
businesses that we can park in front of.
the line is moved over, going past the tavern.
Yes, the road narrows,
Because there's only parking on the south side of the street. So
Yeah.
that still gives you three lanes there.
right, and we definitely don't want parking near the fire department and areas around there, so, yeah. But we can look at all that and see. We had a committee meeting tonight, should I bring up what we talked about?
You can go ahead, I was wanna do that, but go ahead.
At our committee meeting, we talked about staffing and some of the things we wanna look at as far as moving forward with staffing in all the various departments. We really didn't come up with a consensus or anything to make a decision on. We're gonna continue to look at financing, being able to afford some of the things we wanna do. But we have needs in just about every department. Part-time needs and some full-time needs, looking to the future because of the pending retirements in just about every department here, except electric, so. That's kind of what we discussed at our committee meeting tonight. I'm going to file a grant, I'm gonna apply for a grant to make the purchase of a trench box that we can use when we're doing these water and wastewater projects, when we're digging holes in the road. The current trench box we have is an enormous piece of equipment, and we don't even have the right equipment to put it in the ground, let alone have the facilities to dig that size of a hole to make it something that we can use every day.
Could we make a trade with that piece of equipment for another piece?
That is a second option, Mr. Bailey, because I'm first going to file for a grant to pay for the new one. And I'm looking at selling that one to another contractor. But if the grant doesn't come back, then that's something we can have an option to do, is trading it in on
Debbie,
something.
do you remember what we paid for that? Was it over 8,000?
No, it was under 8,000,
Okay,
around 7,000.
okay, thank you.
So I'm gonna file for that grant and see what we can get there.
For those who don't know what that box is for, you wanna explain it?
So when you excavate the ground and you allow one of your employees to enter that excavation, which is below 5 feet, or it's 5 feet or more, you're required by OSHA to have a box that you set in there. And what it does is it prevents the banks or the dirt from collapsing onto you inside the hole and possibly trapping you or terminating your life, one or the other. People do pass away from that. And it can do permanent damage if you're stuck under the ground, so. We're going to look at getting that trench box, and it's one that's versatile, it's modular, it's more than one piece, and 2 men can carry it around and set it in the hole. And it's stackable to where if we're deeper than what the box can handle, we'll have another section to stack on top that we can use. And it's very versatile, very usable piece of equipment, and it's small enough that it's going to fit in the holes that we actually have to dig.
So what we should do, if we get the grant and get one, we could end up selling this and then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Then we might end up selling it if they don't take the trailer, whichever way, but yeah.
Yes,
But yeah, we're definitely gonna go.
yes. I have, kind of a tentative agreement with, the distributor that we bought it from to sell it for us to another company, so I'm kinda waiting to see what the brand does before I make that decision, so.
Very good.
The street department, we've been talking about the dump truck. I've gotten some quotes back on some of the different options we can look at. I'm not satisfied with those quotes, so I've got some calls out there to continue looking for prices to see what our best options are on getting us a truck for the street department to plow snow and do our salt spreading for us. So I have some things that I'm working on there, exploring the different options, and I'll keep you guys informed as we move forward. I have given a PO and ordered the street sweeping, so we should be seeing that real soon. I told him to wait as close as he could till Memorial Day, but I want it done before Memorial Day. So he's supposed to get with us and get with our street superintendent to look at the streets that we want to do and make sure it's done efficiently and as we see fit, and then he'll be coming in to do that for us. We do now have our 3 delinquent properties. They are in our possession. Our names are on the deeds. So like the chief alluded to earlier, I boarded up the one property that was dangerous. I've got 3 companies giving me quotes on the asbestos inspection and the demolition of that property. One property, we're going to go into, the one with the Cadillac, and we're going to look at what it's gonna take for us to get that to the point where we might be able to auction that property off, and make some money on it. And then the third property is a trailer that sits on a very large lot back in on 6th Street. I'm looking at some options there, if I can find someone to take that trailer and have like, I'm not sure, I have to discuss this with Steven, what our options are there, but if someone would take it for nothing, and we don't have to deal with it at all, and it's gone, then that property, we would have to tear down the garage that's there, because it's pretty bad, but we may end up being able to sell that property very quickly as well, so. But I'll keep council informed on those as we progress. I'm still working on some things there. I think that's pretty much all I have. I would also like to ask council if we could go into an executive session to discuss compensating an employee.
For what now?
Ask council to go into an executive session for compensating an employee.
Personnel, discuss
Personnel.
compensation.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session for personnel.
Second.
Bennett,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Shop.
Yes. No action taken.
Is that a motion, Shop?
I will make a motion to,
No. All right, did you make that a motion?
You make that
that's
motion,
what
come
I'm
back to
trying to
executive
do.
session. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Bennett,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Shop.
Yes.
Hmm.
Now I'd like to make a motion to, give the VA a week's vacation, paid vacation in June.
Second.
Bennett,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
and Shop.
Yes.
We forgot the contract.
I'll work on that.
That 5-year deal?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. You have anything else, Jim?
I do not, thank you.
Say thank you. All right. Mr. Beck.
So a couple of things. First of all, the questions, the recurring questions with regard to the AMP and these tax certificates that we're getting. I spoke with their counsel, and she pointed out to me with this particular one, the Fremont Energy Center, when I said to her, our concern was that we might be subject to liability similar to what we encountered in the AMP-GS, the Bechtel plant. She said, and to my surprise, she said, well, you've already signed the contract for this plant. And I said, well, can you give me a copy of that contract? And indeed, she did send me a 2011 contract that we entered into. So to the extent that there would be liability of the kind we experienced in AMP-GS, we're already on the hook for that.
When did we sign that contract there?
So,
2011.
yeah, the enabling legislation was June 20th, 2011.
10 years ago.
Yeah,
And that's before you were here, right?
that is before I was here,
Yeah.
which was the first sigh of relief that I breathed during.
Yeah. That was when Connie was mayor still.
Yes, that was,
We have Jennifer was here, and
Right.
Lisa, was it Jennifer?
no, it looks like Jennifer with this J.
Karate.
Karate.
Yeah, Jennifer was here.
So the contract has already been signed and entered into pursuant to section 32. Each participant agrees to assist and to cooperate AMP regarding any matters related to its PSCR share to the extent needed to maintain the tax status of bonds issued as tax advantage obligations, including but not limited to delivering prior to issuance of any tax advantage obligations executed certificates. So we're actually under contract and we have a contractual duty to sign these certificates. And the legislation that was passed, actually, that ordinance would authorize our village administrator to sign off on any documents needed to carry the agreement into effect and to comply with it. So I think you would have authority. It's still probably prudent to bring these to council just so that there can be the discussion. But that's kind of the bad news. The good news is, I mean, we're already under the contract, so if he signs off on it, we're just complying with the contract. And the nature of the compliance is certifying that that the electricity is being used for a public entity, that it's not being commercially sold, which gives us, as she explained to me, a cost savings. So it reduces the cost of the electricity. So we're already in it for any liability under the contract. We haven't experienced any for 10 years now. So that's not AMP-GS. That blew up really early.
When did that contract stop then?
Oh,
Steve?
I would have to go through it and pull the term. I didn't do that. It's just under 100 pages long. But I'm guessing it's extensive, just given what the nature of the project was. But I'll find that in.
Is that it? That's not it,
5 years. No,
is it? Okay.
it's not that.
As long as it don't cost us another $80,000.
No, I mean, there's no way to guarantee that. I can say that it's not going to be AMP-GS because that one was in the planning and design phase when it all blew up. This one, from what I understand, is up, running, generating electricity, and now they have to do these certifications to capture a tax benefit, which results in a reduction of cost. So overall, I think that we have the contract, we're under it, we're contractually obligated to sign these. I think that we should sign it, or the village administrator should probably sign it. But I do have a copy of this, and I have it electronically, if anybody would like me to send it to you so you can take a look at it, and I'll send it to you,
Thank you.
so you have it.
What I'd like to do is make a motion to ask for you to sign the contract. Is that possible to do that?
I think there's already the statutory authority, but I think it's also maybe worth memorializing that, just as kind of a matter of practice, so that when we get these.
And I'll make the motion to do that.
Second.
And what do I wanna call this?
I don't know.
A signing of the contract for,
No, to sign off on the tax certificate.
Okay, that's what it was.
AMP tax certificate.
But it would be a question on that motion and second. I would like it to be brought up to council each time it's done though. He has the authority to do it, but it's brought before council each time.
I think that's a good idea.
Bennett,
Yes.
Richards,
Yep.
McKinney,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes,
and Shaw.
Yes.
Okay, so that was that piece. Another question that had come up was related to delinquent utilities, specifically electricity. Can you pursue the owner? Can you pursue a tenant? Can you pursue both? And we're allowed to make bylaws and rules. I don't know what the actual bylaws and rules say for the electricity. The statute, 735-29, does authorize rents are not paid when due. The Board of Public Affairs can certify them to the county auditor to be placed on the duplicate and collected as other village taxes. So if there's delinquent utility accruals on properties in the village, we can certify that as a tax lien to the auditor. And then it would be collected with the other taxes, just like if there's other property taxes. The statute also allows collection by actions at law in the name of the village from an owner, a tenant, or other person who is liable to pay. So I think you have concurrent liability for the tenants. So if you had a property where, I know we passed legislation that says it must be the owner, you can't have these tenants that then leave and the owner says, it isn't me. But I think in addition to that, we have statutory authority to go after if you had some, kind of grandfathered properties where there's tenants in there and they have the utility in their name. I think that the statute would authorize us to go after them and collect at law, or place it on the tax duplicate.
Steve, if we put that on the tax duplicate, when we get paid back for that amount of money, they would have to come back and go into a certain fund here. I wonder if they tell us about that. Sandra run into that before.
If who tells you?
If they would tell us when they give us the money back, if it's collected, because it has to go into a certain fund.
They will notify us. We
Oh, they
have to
will
notify
notify
them
you?
of the lien.
Okay.
We put the lien on, and when it's collected, they notify us of how much is paid on
Good
that part of
enough.
the property.
Okay, so I have that, and then the last one was, you'd asked about the village fiscal officer conversion from clerk treasurer. I have that statute, we can talk about it after the meeting if you'd like. And then, the only other thing is I'll look into that transfer of motor vehicle title on abandonment and have that, hopefully I'll talk to you and probably the village administrator to maybe have the ball rolling on that for next meeting so we can get the Cadillac rolling.
All right,
That's all I have, thank you.
thank you. The other thing I was gonna say, no complaints from the guys on Church Street South, or Church Avenue South. Everybody on the east side, they're all complying.
I haven't heard nobody say
They may
anything.
not be happy, but nobody's complaining, so they're all doing what they're supposed to do.
I did see a car parked on the wrong side of the road the other day.
Yeah, that might have, they might be sitting there or something too, but I did see the one guy down there the one day, but he was sort of in the grass. Also, I don't know, did I tell you guys about Representative Romer? He talked to me he sent me an email last week, and he's looking into four-way stop there at 212 and 93, because we gotta do something, it's getting ridiculous, and I told him it's just getting way too ridiculous. And after I talked to someone, it might have been Anderson was telling me that, Chief Anderson, or it might have been Chief Beck, they were telling me that a lot of people, after the accident happened, they said that they thought it was a four-way, and that's why they took off, and then they hit these cars. So if we make it a four-way and we do all this and that, and then may possibly turn this one to a yellow flasher, I don't know. I'm not even gonna worry about that. If they have to stop twice, they stop twice. But we gotta do something about that, 'cause that's crazy, so.
I think we have the approval to change that to a four-way stop.
We are, that's what he's
Well,
trying to
I mean,
do.
but it's still crazy that they won't move that
Oh, I know.
traffic light. I
They
mean, that's just
refuse.
ridiculous.
It's so crazy, and they went through, they did the traffic thing and all this, and I said, well, you got less traffic on Main Street than what you do on 212. And and I said, and it's also because they didn't move it when they made the new road, so.
That was their choice that they, the
I know.
council elected to do,
I know.
because I was around there when they
That's
did it.
You know,
They didn't want it changed.
that's, you know, and I'm not gonna crucify
Now, I
them for it
understand why they
because-
can't change it. I hate to tell you something, if you try to make that turn, coming out of 212, heading west to a right-hand turn on 93, if the traffic would have to be back about
You
7
can
car
only go
lengths.
north or south on 93.
If you go north of 93 off of 212,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot make the turn unless you swing out and take in 3 or 4 lanes.
Yeah, I
of
know,
traffic,
that truck driver found that out.
Because you'll go over top the curb every time.
You know, I ain't worried about that.
Okay.
But, I mean, a stop sign or a traffic light's not gonna stop that. You know what I mean? The only thing is, we had that guy hit the poles there a couple of weeks ago from Green Express or wherever they were. I don't know what that was all about. But I think that's all.
They will
Oh,
probably go back to the traffic count.
but there's no reason for it, just make it a four-way stop. But anyway, yeah, he said he's gonna get a hold of him, so hopefully he's up for election this year and he'll force it through. I mean, he did, you know, he was gonna work on it, and then COVID come along and everything went, so he did get back to me, and I didn't even ask him, I was ready to, and then boom, he emailed me, so.
I
he
tried to
worked
get
on
the
it.
sign done down Route 62 and Justice Avenue too, and they won't do it. But look how many years I've been trying to get it out of there.
No, yeah, but you don't even do that though, that's township trustee.
Well, I
right?
drove with her all the time, and
Oh, yeah, I do too.
I had
Oh, do.
people pull out in front of me all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I always try to get real close to him, sort of letting him know.
Give them a little push.
Yeah, just a little bit. All right, we do need next, meeting, before the next meeting, I guess, would be for the inventory. That would be McKinney, Miss Schott, and Miss Bennett. So we can either do it next week, or we do it like an hour ahead of the council meeting, whichever way you guys would wanna do it. Anyone have some-
I'm not available next week.
Okay,
No, it's not next week, the next meeting.
Good. Yeah,
He
that'd
said
be
either
fine.
next week.
Yeah.
Oh, an hour before next meeting,
That'd be the 17th.
Yep, at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, ladies.
Yeah.
I'm at your beck and call.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Hazel?
All right. Good enough. That's all I got. Anybody else have anything?
Yes, I have one thing.
All right.
I've been noticing through the banking thing that we've had quite a few, checks that linger in all hit and miss and a month behind and whatever. So I would like to see if council couldn't maybe put on our checking account where we pay the employees or pay anyone, a day, maybe 10 days, 30 days on that check, that it has to be
Cash.
paid, yeah. I think
That would help you with your accounting too, wouldn't it? Getting the checks
And you
in.
can't put a 10-day limit on it because you can't get a
30
piece of
days.
mail from
No.
here to Dover
No,
in 10
I
days.
said 10 or 30 days.
30 days is unacceptable. It's still not enough time depending on how far the check has to go. You're looking at 60 to 90 days out easily.
I think 60 is about the earliest I think.
And I would have to check with Apple Creek Bank to see
Oh,
what they will allow
okay.
or what they, now, I just ordered 2 boxes of checks, so it's not gonna happen for several months.
Oh, yeah, because we'd have to have those printed up.
You have to have, you have to have them printed and,
Yeah.
Saying 60
Yeah,
days on it.
and-
Government checks, they got 120 days.
Right, 6 weeks.
But I think it kind of helped the situation from,
and you know what, it's gonna help more? Really, Kurt? Direct deposit for payroll. Because payroll is one of the biggest problems that we have. We have
Yeah.
employees that get their checks and either lose them or do not cash them. And Amy and I talked about it. I had the information to put it online before COVID hit, and when COVID hit, I had to stop. because I have to have everything submitted to the bank from the employees, all their data, their banking information. And that's gonna be the hardest part of the job, getting these people to do the documents and getting them back to us. Then we have to change our payroll from Tuesdays out to Thursday. Instead of being the Tuesday after we close the payroll period, it has to go to a Thursday to give me time to get it done, get it to the bank, and the bank process the direct deposits. So that first week is gonna bother them by 2 days and not getting a paycheck, and then they'll be on a schedule. So Amy told me that when we're ready, she's gonna take it upon herself to follow every one of these employees and harass them until they get the paperwork in.
I honestly think it'd be a really good thing to do because I live 30 minutes away from my bank. Everything else is direct deposited for me, so if I could have it directly deposited in there, I don't have to worry about it. So that'd be huge.
I don't wanna hear you're 30 minutes away from your bank, you're out and about all the time.
Yeah,
Don't
we
tell
know.
me that after
That
2 or
doesn't-
3 months of holding your paychecks.
I know,
Got your number.
I know one mayor that never did it for about 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't cash them. And
I said I only have 1 foot to put in what you just shoveled.
so we want to do that, but until we get all that information in and we get it all sent to the bank, it's gonna take time. And the worst thing is gonna be your employees. It's not gonna be us, it's not gonna be the bank, it's gonna be them.
But could we make a motion to put that in process?
If you'd like.
And then, I mean, these employees need to, grow up, they're all adults, let's,
Well, what they don't
Follow.
understand, and I will tell you now, you need to know, you need to sign your cards, start doing your job on that. And then if it's not right, the payroll's not right, the time isn't right, I can't fix it, I can't change it, it's gonna go in. If the card's not there, they're not getting paid. If it's not right, they're not getting paid. I won't be able to make exceptions to these people before I've helped them, I've covered them, I did everything I could to make it easy. That ends. Because I have to follow what the bank tells me to do.
yeah.
If they say, have it done, have it in, that's what we have to do. So you're welcome to make that motion, and I'll get little Miss Amy on it soon.
I'll make a motion that we start the process of direct deposit for
Is that all?
employee payroll.
Yeah.
What do we do for the employee that doesn't have an account?
They will open an account.
They get one. That's what Republic still did. Republic, when they first started doing that, it was an option, and then it was this, and then all of a sudden they said you had to have one. They didn't give out
Okay, I
paper.
second the motion.
There is no option. They either
They
do it or
get
they
it.
don't get a paycheck. Bennett,
Yes.
Richards,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes,
Bailey,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Is that all employees, including?
All.
Including you.
Okay.
The only one that I don't want to put online actually is the fire. They are paid
Once a year.
once a year.
Oh, okay.
They sometimes come and go much more frequently than our regular employees. That'd be too much. Sometimes it's hard to get their new addresses when they move over there.
And in a year, yeah, you could definitely.
Yeah, so we would still do that, the direct, but your mainframe employees, your part-time, full-time, here, they all have bank accounts, they just have to make up their mind, they're gonna do the paperwork when we give it to them.
And if they don't get paid.
And if they don't in the
Isn't it
end,
like
we
a blank
won't,
check?
I won't chase them down, I won't pay them, I
Yeah.
don't care.
They'll show up then.
Yeah, they will.
Okay, we got anything else?
How about the cemetery? Did you wanna bring up anything for the cemetery meeting, John?
We talked about that at the other meeting. We just, most of that's gonna, the cemetery, we are going to purchase slats, chain slats. Hopefully, we're gonna hope that we get them before Memorial Day. If we don't, we're gonna soon after. The other ones concern finance, we're gonna be doing finance down the road somewhere. So, yeah, we're gonna have a lot of early Mondays. I'll be here at 6:00. But, yeah. Anything else about the cemetery that was talking about? Oh, we're gonna have to do the layout on the other,
Yeah.
on the 3 acres.
Platting out the 3 acres.
We'll have to plat that out, yeah. We will have to discuss that too, we'll probably get that the
You might wanna tell the council members that wasn't here about the increases for,
The finance committee thing, yeah, from the clerk going from, was the only one that
The
wasn't.
sexton. and
The sexton.
The section going from what, 2 to 3?
Yep.
And for the clerk going from 11:29 to 2. That was a recommendation from cemetery, so.
Adjusting the stipends for
Yeah.
those positions.
And that comes out of the cemetery, so. Also, the one thing we did talk about too was raising the rates. We're going, Mr. Stanky is, as of right now, he had surgery, so he wasn't able to come. But we had Jim sit in, but we discussed having, raising the lot prices to get them up to where Weltley's at, somewhere close to that, like 500 or 550. Plus also taking either, I think they said $100 or $125 and put it in the endowment fund, put it from 50 to that, because eventually that endowment fund, you know, that keeps things going down the line after we're all gone, you know, to keep the place in, you know. So, but that money would come out from the 550. Okay, so say you raise your lot from 400 to 500, and then you raise the endowment from 50 to 100, and, you know, but that would come out of the 500, so we did talk about that.
Check on that other thing, John, about the cemetery.
Oh, about the stones, I got that written down. I will.
What?
He wants to know if we could have monuments put in the other, the 3 acre plot.
I told him it was done a long time ago, to not put nothing in there, leave everything flat, and we would have to vote on it later. That's the way.
And I'm
it-
telling you again, I'll pull that, this is about the third time I've pulled it, and it says on the paperwork where we got the property from Stanford, that we agreed upon having flat grass markers on that area.
I don't remember that, I'm sorry, dear.
That's okay.
I've done this before, and I will
Okay.
pull it again. It states in the paperwork from Stanford, that's what we agreed to do.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad. Okay.
So if we wanted to change that down the line, we'd have to go back to Stanford to be able to do it, huh?
It'd be like taking over part of her property again. She may be gone, but I bet you that family's gonna watch that property.
Oh,
If
yeah.
we don't give it away to somebody and not use it as cemetery.
I don't think it would be a good idea to go against somebody's,
wishes.
yeah, I mean, it's like a contract. Wouldn't it be a contract if they give us that?
Most of the stones
Is
are
it
supposed to be.
stipulation a deed covenant? Is it actually on the deed?
I have to pull it again. There was an agreement and stuff made when we got that property. And to change it now,
Then that could affect people that would wanna help us out later on the road too.
I don't remember that.
It almost certainly have to be on the deed,
Yeah.
but that said, there's also a good argument to be made if you take it with an understanding.
In good faith, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're both passed away.
Unless there's a compelling
Funny, I don't
reason why.
remember that when I
Oh,
was
yeah.
running in court with it.
Yeah, well, we really wouldn't want to do that. All right, anything else? Okay,